Right, it's time for an experiment. I want to see which T-peg out of these three gives me the optimum performance from my driver. I've seen videos done that suggest that by choosing the correct one of these, correct T height, I potentially will get better performance out of my driving stats, and it's not something I've ever considered before, quite honest. So really keen to see how that will impact on my overall performance in the hands of the average golfer. Driver is at the ready, the sun is shining. Pause the video right now, make your decision which one of these three is going to get better performance. So we're looking about an inch high on the white, inch and a half pink, or 2 inch high on the orange. Which one is going to get best performance for the average golfer when using driver? And what are we going to see differences? So we're going to see launch angle, or imagine it affects spin number, carry distance, total distance, and also the angle of attack. So all interesting things, and to see how much difference it has on overall performance. So stick your winner down below right now in the comments box. Which one of them do you think will perform the best for me? Second thing to do right now, I keep asking at the end of videos, I'm going to switch that round. If you don't subscribe to the channel, then please hit that subscribe button at any time throughout this video. It will be greatly appreciated. And at the end of the video, if you have enjoyed the content, then please hit that like button. Comments down below, and I will do my very best to reply to all those. Right, that's enough of the please made. I will move camera, start hitting some golf balls on this gorgeous day, and see which one of these T-pegs gives me the best performance. Okay, so we're going to do this video a little bit different. I'm going to try and get 3 shots with each T height that are similar in strike. So basically 3 shots that I'm particularly happy with in terms of performance. What I don't want to do, because it's going to be, I don't want to take a very small sample of shots and start to try and present something to you that's quite questionable. So it might take me a while, but I'm going to try and get 3 shots, like I said, that are very, very similar in their strike pattern, and balls that I'm particularly happy with. So I'm going to go away and do that. But before I do that, I just want to talk about, I'm going to start off with the white tee. The white tee, when the club is sat, and I'm using G400 Max driver, when the club is sat behind the ball, and you can have a look at a close-up of this now, the ball, I would say a quarter of the ball is above the club face when it's sat down behind it. For me, the white tee just looks that little bit smaller. It's a type of tee I would look if I was trying to get that ball maybe a bit more of a cutty shot, maybe to keep that ball just that little bit lower, a bit more control. But other than that, it looks just that little bit too small and compact for me. That said, let's hit the first one with the camera on, and then I'll go away and see if I can, see how long it'll take me. Could be here several days. I'll be using that one. More than happy with that. I'm going to hit some more shots, we'll record the data, and then we'll move on. I'll speak to you in 2 seconds, and we'll talk about the pink tee, which is where I'll go to after this. Right, so pink tee now. Didn't take too long, that did okay. White tee performance, visually okay. Ball flight, more penetrating, lower, as I would probably expect. And launch angle, I would say for me, looked a little bit low, but we'll get to that shortly. Now, next thing I want to talk about is how the G400 Max now sets up behind the golf ball with the pink tee. And I would suggest, from where I'm looking, but we'll get a close-up from the other side, what you're looking at now, about half of the golf ball is sitting above the club face when it's grounded behind the ball at address. For me, it's a much more natural position in terms of where I would tee the golf ball up. That's the kind of thing that I'm particularly comfortable. It's where I understand I should have the tee, how it should be teed up. We'll see whether my understanding where it should be and where it actually, in performance-wise, we'll see that shortly. But at the moment, that would be the choice for me in terms of the tee, in terms of how I like the club head to sit behind the ball. Well, I might as well stay in it one on camera, eh? And again, even from that ball, whilst it's up there now, higher ball flight straight away, totally different than what I hit with than any of the tee shots with the white. And again, you see that ball getting up and out there straight away. We shall see. Right, I'll hit a few more with this and then we're back again just to discuss how this sits behind the ball with the orange T-peg. Okay, so golf ball's well underway now. The experiment is getting somewhere and we're now onto the orange T-peg. Right, same as before, club head behind the ball. Now then, big difference here for me. Almost 3/4 of the ball now is above the club face at address. Makes me a little bit uncomfortable. It sort of suggests at address that, I know this won't happen, or shouldn't do, but it almost suggests that the club head is going to sweep right under that ball and you're going to fire one up high, and we know that doesn't necessarily happen, and I'm no doubt my angle of attack is going to be very much on the upward swing now, upward, and again I would expect launch angle to be significantly higher. That's what's going on my head, at least visually, when I look down at that. Whether or not that's what happens in terms of performance, we'll see in the numbers at the end. But slightly more uncomfortable with this tee height. This is very much tee it high, let it fly. But yeah, I don't know, it's a bit too high I think for me. That's a really good shot, to be fair. But again, watching the ball out there into the range, huge amount of launch. I'd be interested to see it comes down at very much a steep descent angle. And I've got to imagine that that ball isn't rolling out that far. But anyway, let me hit some more golf balls with the orange tee. We'll get 3 of each now, some consistent shots, and then we'll sit down and we'll have a good look at these numbers and see how this all translates into overall performance with this driver. Okay, well, that was, for me personally, an interesting experiment, and again, be very much interested in your feedback on this one. I think the first question is, before I go into this, is what tee height or what colour tee or tee height do you currently sort of work with yourself at the moment, and is it something you even consider when you stood on the tee? Do you vary your tee height depending on different situations, different courses, and what you're looking for from ball flight? I don't know. For me, like I said, it's not something that I really pay too much attention to. The only thing I will say is I've always teed the ball up with sort of maybe half of the golf ball itself slightly above the club face at address. That's a rule of thumb that I've worked with. But anyway, first of all, let's get into the numbers, and I'll throw you up the data on the white tees. So white tee, very quickly, spin rate 2397 on average, 241 carry, 268 overall, launching at 11.3, which is quite low, and again what I'd have expected. Average height 76 feet, sorry, and angle of attack, a negative angle of attack, minus 0.3. I think pretty much everything that I would expect to have gotten from the white tee bore out. I think that's fair to say. Let's not compare just yet, because we'll go into the pink tee, which is the one I felt most comfortable with and probably how I would naturally tee a driver up. So spin drop right down now to 2150, so happy with the spin number on that. 245 carry, so we've gained a 4-yard carry, lower spinning, and 271 overall. Not a massive difference there, not massive gains, but that 245 carry as opposed to 241 carry is an interesting one. I'll come back to that in a minute. Launch angle went naturally again to 13.6, and peak height 87 feet. So again, all those things were pretty much as you'd expect. Didn't pick up the data on shot number 3, unfortunately, but it gave us an average of 4.3 on angle of attack. But shot 2 seemed very different, so it's a shame we couldn't have got shot 3 in there really. But once again, all those things pretty much came out as you would expect, or at least as I was expecting, with the different tee heights. Then let's get into the orange tee. A little bit more uncomfortable for me in terms of how the club sat behind the ball, didn't quite like it. Spin again went right up now to 2711. Carry distance 242, so good carry distance, but again with the higher spinning, and again the angle of descent and where this came back from, because I'll just flick to the height column. Peak height was 102 yards, and again I could see that when I was hitting the ball, and maybe if you were looking sort of downwind, teeing this ball up onto an orange tee getting that ball up to 102 yards of peak height and letting the wind just carry it, then I can see where that would definitely work, but vice versa, and this thing is going to absolutely balloon. Launch angle went up to 14.3 and total yardage down to 261, so a considerable difference in loss of distance on the orange tee, and the only way, like I said, that would work for me is literally playing downwind when you're looking to really tee that ball and get it airborne. Of the 3 tees, clearly for me, although only a minor difference, and I expected a bigger difference, especially with the angle of attack. Everyone talks about how you've got to hit up on the ball when hitting driver, and there was 2 different scenarios there and not a massive difference in performance. And again, only over a small ratio of shots, but the angle of attack very much swinging and connecting the ball on the upswing with the orange tee peg, and the opposite effect with the white tee peg, and the overall differences in performance, like I said, weren't that greatly different, so that's an interesting one. For me, it was very much the middle. Tee peg did a bit of everything. It got good carry distance, and I think again when I said about this carry at 245, the interesting for me, whether it be summer or even more so winter conditions, when you're looking for the long carry but not compromising with ballooning spin, then again that pink tee peg height was absolutely perfect for me. Launch angle at 13.6 was good, and like I said, although it only gained small amounts of yardage, I think overall performance on the pink tee suggested that that was the winner, if there was a winner, but it certainly proved to me that that pink tee height was about right. If I translate the pink tee height, like I said, into what, if I was using any old tee, straight tee peg, I would suggest that, and I think it's a rule of thumb that a lot of people have worked with, so I don't want to state the obvious, but at least we've tried to prove it, is pretty much half of your golf ball sitting proudly above the club head when you lay it on the ground at address. Like I said, I've worked with that sort of mindset. Yeah, that's something that I've always used, and that's that height, I would say, that pink tee. Anyway, I'm not going to be 10. I'm going to look into where I struck it on the club. I'm not going to talk about angle of attack too much, because I'm not going to pretend that I'm an expert in this, because as you know, I am not. I'm trying to relay this information in layman's terms as I would interpret it. So I hope that was useful. I hope you enjoyed the video. Like I said, I'll try and make it short and sweet. Like I said earlier on, comments down below. Love the interaction. Thumbs up if you like the video, and once again subscribe if you don't already. I think that's that test and little experiment done. I'm going to move on, and I'll see you very, very soon on Upload TV.